If I had $1 for every time I was trying to get a video out and then all of a sudden some new special news about Crossworlds came out, I would have $2, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice, guys. Genuinely. So, the first time this happened was after I made my Ring Game Boost video. Excel Character Kit came out shortly after that, and we found out that it was actually Ring Game Boost 2. And now, in the middle of making this Expo time trial video, we find out the devs have teased some new gadgets. 8 of them, in fact, and all 8 of these actually look pretty fun. But I want to talk about what these 8 gadgets could potentially be, how good they potentially are, and what are my thoughts on all of them. This doesn't mean that my thoughts are fully 100% correct. This doesn't mean everything I'm about to state is 1000% correct. So keep that in mind. Everything should be taken with a grain of salt, and everything should be taken as a tentative idea of what this could be. So without further ado, let's go into what each of these gadgets are and how I think they can be used or how useless they could potentially be. Going into talking about the gadgets, I have set up a tier list that is going to talk about how much potential each gadget has. Best potential is probably the gadget or gadgets that have the best possible potential to make a meta shift or be put into the meta themselves. You have the might be fun gadgets, which are kind of viable. They're not super good, they're not super bad, but they definitely have some more use cases. There's too niche, which means it's a gadget that is extremely niche or has a very niche feature to it that is potentially way too hard to actually pull off consistently. And then completely useless are gadgets that legitimately have no value whatsoever, and even if they did have value, there's just no reason to use them over other gadgets because some other gadgets might just be completely better than them overall. So let's talk about might be fun. So one of the first gadgets in this lineup of the 8 is actually Summon Item Box from the looks of it. Summon Item Box has a decent amount of potential to go into best potential for this upcoming patch, but I also think it might be just a solid overall fun gadget, and the reason why is because you're sacrificing 50 rings for an item box, and if you're already at 100 rings, you're losing 11 speed roughly because you lose the 1 ring for 100, which gives you 7 speed on top of 49 other rings, which is about 3 speed roughly to 4 speed, so it's about 11 speed total for your top speed, which is really unfortunate. So this could be pretty alright, but I also think it could be pretty bad. It really depends on how good this is, and it also depends on how another gadget over here actually is and how strong it truly is. I do think Summon Item Box does have potential to be a very fun, solid gadget that isn't too bad, but it won't be super good, and it won't make a meta shift. Next, let's talk about what looks to be Omochao Starter. Omochao Starter, depending on your placement in the race, could actually have potential. And the reason why I want to talk about it, why it could have potential, is because Omochao Starter, being a speed item, allows you to take big off-road cuts. So like on Coral Town, right, after you take Coral Cut, you can get a guaranteed Coral Cut with Omochao. Now, granted, this does not help you get to your desired goal if you're playing for soft bagging such as Wisp Laser. It doesn't help you towards that goal of soft bagging, but having a guaranteed way to take a cut later and get rings off of taking that cut could actually be very nice and could be very helpful. I do think it's a little too niche because if you're just trying to take one cut and have a guaranteed way to take a cut, I feel like Boost Starter might just be better for that reason. But the fact that it gives you rings on top of the fact that it actually allows you to take off-road simultaneously could allow you to actually have more potential with Omochao Starter than Boost Starter, funny enough. But it does have its weaknesses, obviously. If you don't have Boost Starter and you're using Omochao Starter and like Dark Chow Starter, then you're going to suffer the possibility of getting weighted, slimed, or even Dark Chowed by someone else. So that is something that you have to be careful of and you have to understand. So I think for now, we'll leave Omochao Starter here and might be fun. I think when we get to other gadgets and look at other gadgets, we'll definitely move it potentially. Next, this gadget. This is probably the most potential in the game for all 8 of these gadgets. And based on the crown and then the ring plus icon that it looks to be here, I know it's hard to see it. I'll zoom it in for you guys. This looks like it is first place bounty. Now, first place bounty, if this is what it is going to be probably the best front running gadget in the game, obviously next to Ultimate Charge, because first place bounty, if it's similar to how Slipstream bounty is, you'll get a consistent 1 ring every like half a second while you're in first place. And if you're running ring game boost builds like Snake Stream, you take out Dash Panel Mini Bounty, you run this, and if you could probably potentially front run forever. This gadget could be very, very broken. And because of that, if it is, we could actually see a nerf to ring game boost builds potentially if the devs are thinking about that. But in general, just having a consistent form of ring generation, especially as a front runner, and you don't have to go out of your way to take ring lines, is super broken. If you guys have not watched TT or you guys don't know too much about time trial, I promise you this gadget is probably going to be one of the most high potential gadgets because you're able to take such good lines without having to sacrifice any time at all because you're always going to have consistent ring generation when you're in the first place. And this allows you to save some other items potentially as well and play your items a lot better and a lot easier without having to worry about going for ring lines. Because let's say you have an item coming at you like on white space, right? There are spots on white space where you can weave around or take a super tight line and the item will break on the wall. Whereas if you're going for ring lines, you can't do that. The item won't break on the wall. So it can actually help you a lot more for getting items to clank on walls. And even if you bump the wall, it doesn't matter because you'll get those rings back very quickly. So I think this gadget overall Omochao easily probably has the most potential in the game. Easily one of the best gadgets in the game if it is first place bounty. So keep an eye out for this gadget. I really do think this gadget right here could be very good, and it can be easily substituted in for many gadgets, such as if you're running Ring Game Boost 2 and Excel Character Kit, slam this in instead of Slipstream Bounty and doubling up on it, and then once you get to the front, you will literally be off to the races. Same thing with Snake Stream, and same thing with a few other builds potentially. Next, the fourth gadget that was showcased. This gadget, completely useless. It is by far either too niche or completely useless. You know, let's put it to too niche, because I actually do think there are some cases where you can actually use this, unlike some of these other gadgets. Why are we putting this in too niche? So, based on what this is, it is a gadget that is specifically going to be giving you 100 ring, and I'll zoom this in for you guys. You'll get 100 ring for selecting the travel ring. This, on its own, could be very good. This incentivizes you to front run to the travel ring and select it, giving yourself 100 rings, and even if you select it, get hit, and lose 50, you'll get 100 back, and so you'll always be at 100 rings going into lap 2. So this could actually have niche potential, but because of that, it could lead to a scenario where you get overzealous trying to get 100 rings from this bounty, and it could lead you to actually putting yourself in a much worse position, especially if you're trying to soft bag. I don't think this gadget has too many scenarios where it's good, and in general, I don't think, like, unless you're able to run UC without needing, like, Quick Charge 2 or 3, I don't even think this is even viable at all, and that's probably the best potential build to have, is it allows UC players to not have to take ring lines at all, and they can just fully focus on potentially going for the travel ring. And even then, if you're not going for ring lines at all, you're literally sacrificing so much speed just to go get 100 guaranteed if you even get to that point, where someone can literally wisp forward on the off-road and get the travel ring and you get nothing, right? Even in the best case scenarios of being able to just fully commit to this, I don't think this is viable. And if you don't get to select the travel ring and it gives you nothing even when you go through the travel ring, which it looks like it won't, it's just too niche. It really is. Even in the best case scenarios, I feel like this gadget is just way too niche compared to other gadgets. I really don't think you should be picking this gadget unless you want to really try something goofy and have some fun. But if it's something completely different and I'm wrong on this could potentially be a lot better, or it could even be worse. But again, I don't know. I don't think this gadget is going to be that good. Travel ring selector bounty or whatever it's called. This gadget, I just think is too niche, unfortunately. Even in the best case scenario where you're able to front run, take perfect TT lines, and get to that 100 ring, I don't think you're going to be able to consistently get that off every single race, even if you were being absolutely perfect with all your lines, because people will just speed item ahead of you and try to select the ring instead of you. Next, less is more. This is a gadget that is actually known, and this is a gadget that has been seen in the beta, if I remember correctly. I think less is more, depending on how good it is. It could either be right here, or it could be even up in best potential. So, less is more promotes taking every single TT line as possible, trying to min-max avoiding rings, and in doing so, you get more speed for having no rings, right? Here's the thing about this. I don't know how much speed you're going to get for this. Depending on how much speed you get for this, it could be up here, or it could be down here. It really depends. Let's say you're like 1 or 2 speeds slower than just collecting 100 rings normally, it's probably up here in best potential, potentially. But that is only in the scenarios where less is more gets more value on for running like Quick Charge level 2, 3 and Tech Drift, right? And running builds with less is more in those over, say, running full UC lines or running full Ring Game Boost lines. And that's the thing. I think with the fact that Ring Game Boost is so powerful, unless Ring Game Boost gets nerfed pretty dramatically, I don't think less is more is going to be a best potential gadget. I think it's going to be a might be fun gadget somewhere in this range, roughly. So that is something to keep in mind 100%, is depending on how much speed you get, depending on if it's even viable, and depending on how Ring Game Boost changes, if it does in this next patch. Less is more can either be here, it could be in best potential, or it could even be in too niche for that matter. Really fully depends, but it does promote taking lines that completely avoid rings, which a lot of time trial lines trying to be as close to the wall without bumping them, you avoid a lot of rings doing that. So definitely be on the lookout for less is more. I'm definitely going to try some less is more builds. I think there could be some very fun builds with this gadget, and I'm very excited to see it come into the game. Next, another gadget that was in the beta from what I heard, double rings. Double rings is a 3-slot gadget, if I remember correctly, and that automatically makes it completely useless. I don't care what anyone says. Unless you're running Festival with this, there's zero reason to run this gadget at all. Double rings for 3 slots is horrendous, genuinely. Why would you need a 3-slot gadget to give you double rings per ring line? So instead of 10 rings, you get 20 rings, and then if you get a 10 ring, you get 20 rings. Like, it's nice. It gives you a lot of rings. It's consistent, I guess. But the problem is like, the fact that you're committing half your gadget loadout to a 3-slot double ring gain gadget, I just don't think it works. Like, in the current meta, ring game boost is just better, and every ring you pick up gives you ring game boost. And the way this works, it doesn't double the amount of rings, as in like you get one ring and then you get another one ring. It just doubles it by, and every one ring is 2 rings, right? So because of that, you're not getting more ring game boost procs. It's not going to help you for your goal of ring game boost. And even if you are struggling to keep 100 rings, this is not going to help you to keep 100 rings any more than just running normal stuff. Like, genuinely, it might help you a little bit more, but like, I really think it's completely useless for World Match and Legend Comp. For Festival, and I want to preface this, for Festival specific, this gadget for ring game festivals might actually be fun gadget, especially when paired with like Omochao starter. It could actually be a fun gadget to use in Festival, but I think in terms of World Match, Legend Comp, and other competitive modes, this gadget is completely useless and has next to no value. So unfortunately, since it's 3 slot, it's kind of bad. If they change the gadget and it's like 2 slots and you lose like 5 stats across the board, then it could actually be potentially a niche gadget as a 2 slot -5 for all stats, because the only stats that really matter are like speed, handling, and boost. -5 speed, depending on what your speed stat is, doesn't really matter, doesn't change anything. -5 handling can be handled with using acceleration releasing, or you can even just take your lines a little bit wider initially, or start your drifts a little bit earlier than normal. -5 boost is the big problem. If you lose 5 boost, that can actually make your drifting rhythm a lot worse. So that's why I'm going to put it in 2 niche. If it didn't have -5 boost, it could actually be might be fun if it's like 2 slot. But even then, I think it's too niche to completely useless. And I think if it's going to be just like the beta is, which is a 3 slot, it is completely useless for World Match and Legend Comp and other competitive modes. In terms of the final 2 gadgets, so the final 2 gadgets, we actually don't fully know what these 2 could be, but there is speculation, and I'm going to go over to the Sonic Crossworld gadget Google Sheet. This gadget, or this Google Sheet, showcases a lot of the gadgets that are in the game, and some of them that haven't even been released yet. And 2 of the gadgets that so happen to be on this list that haven't released yet are called Ring Game Kits. Ring Game Kit 1, which is probably going to be the first gadget between these 2, it's probably this one, is a gadget that has starting bounty boost, crash pads, and +5 speed. This is beyond useless. Starting bounty boost is not worth it at all unless you're running time trial, and even then, just use the 1 slot variant of this. Not only that, in terms of crash pads is garbage in and of itself. It is 2 slots for an effect that is saving half your rings when you get hit. Don't get me wrong, if you hate losing rings, it's nice for that reason, but starting bounty boost where you get 30 rings and then you get hit anyways, you're going to lose almost all your rings regardless. Even with crash pads and starting bounty boost, just getting hit initially at the start of the race makes you go down to 5 rings. So it's like you never even changed anything, if not in 9th through 12th, to 5 rings. And if you're in 9th through 12th, you'll go from 60 rings because of starting bounty boost all the way down to 35 rings. It is just not worth it at all for this, and having consistent ring gen is always going to be better than having an immediate on-demand dead slot after you get your rings. I don't think this gadget's that worth it. I think it's completely useless. I think it has no value. If you want to run it and have some fun, if this is the Ring Game Kit 1, then go for it, have some fun. Maybe it could be very interesting, maybe it could be a little fun, but I really think it's just not worth playing. I think if you're trying to give yourself a challenge, then go for it. Otherwise, I wouldn't recommend it. Finally, the last gadget. This gadget, just like Ring Game Kit 1, there actually is a second one, and this Ring Game Kit has Ring Range Up and Drift Bounty Boost. So, Drift Bounty Boost, as opposed to Perfect Charge Bounty, is significantly worse. Drift Bounty Boost is a gadget that gives you 2 rings per drift, no matter if you perfect drift or if you regular drift or let go whenever. There is nothing that prevents you from getting those 2 rings, unless you just don't release your drift somehow because you got hit, right? And Ring Range Up by itself is actually pretty solid as a gadget. It's not terrible, but I don't think it's worth it if you're trying for long-term like improvements, especially in time trial. Ring Range Up is just not worth it. But as a fun gadget, this could be decently fun. But even then, 2 rings per drift boost, I don't find that good. I really don't. If you want to use a drift ring game gadget, just go with Perfect Charge Bounty. I think Ring Game Kit 2 probably just going to be down here. I think in terms of the completely useless tier, I think double rings is going to be the absolute worst of the gadgets that have been shown. I think Ring Game Kit 2 is going to be slightly better than Ring Game Kit 1. And then I think Travel Selector Bounty or Travel Ring Selector Bounty, whatever it's going to get called, I think it's too niche to find a lot of success, but there might be some people that try and get some success with it. If that's the case, that's huge. Omochao starter, less is more, and Summon Item Box have some potential to actually be decently fun to somewhat viable. Again, it depends on what people find with Omochao starter, if they find anything that could actually make it worthwhile. There's also the fact that less is more can actually be very viable depending on how much speed you get from having 0 rings. And then Summon Item Box has really good synergy with less is more because you're always going to be at 0 rings. You go to 50 rings, you immediately pop Summon Item Box and your less is more is now maxed out again. So there is potential for both to actually have really good synergy. The problem is both of them are 2 slots if I remember correctly. Yeah, less is more from the beta is a 2 slot gadget. So there's a huge potential that this is just to 4 slots off rip, and then you have 2 slots left to work with. And if you're gonna do that, all you can do is like quick charge level 2 and 3, and that's all you really can do, genuinely. And finally, best potential. If this is first place bounty, this gadget is probably gonna be the best gadget out of the whole combo of 8. This is easily gonna be the highest potential gadget. It's gonna be the most used. It's gonna be very fun. It's gonna favor front running very hard. And if you're running ring game boost builds, this is just gonna be a better ring mercy in every single way, because if it's similar to how slipstream bounty gives you 1 ring every, I think it's half second, if it's similar to how slipstream bounty gives you rings, then first place bounty could actually be just stupid broken, genuinely. Like, having consistent ring generation, especially in Legend Comp 3, has shown that you can recover almost instantly, and there's nothing people can do about it because you're just constantly getting a flow of rings. So even if you get hit, you have better recovery and you have guaranteed ring generation. It's just beyond good if this is first place bounty. Genuinely, is beyond good. If you just skipped to this point, or you actually watched the whole video to this point, thank you so much for watching the video and supporting me through watching the video. And I'd like to talk about a new idea that I actually came up with through editing this video. I was looking at the Sonic and Crossworld gadgets Google Sheet that was made by Yoshster, and something I figured out because I was being too naive. I actually looked down and scrolled all the way down and saw the unused gadget icons, and Ringing Kit 1 and 2, which are the 2 kits I was talking about that could have been these 2 gadgets at the bottom, they already have icons that are already shown. Because of that, I actually have a new idea I want to present. This idea is going to be very similar to F-Zero GX and Redout 2's boost meter, or in some other games where they have like a nitro meter, right? This is basically going to be Crossworlds equivalent of nitroing. So basically, the orange burning ring, which it could just be called Burn Rings Mini, who knows what it's going to be called. It's going to have a much better name than that, I assume. Basically what it is you're going to spend maybe like 10 rings for a level 1 boost, and a level 1 boost is only 20% speed for 1.5 seconds, so it's very weak and minimal. But for 10 rings, you can get a lot of those off. You can get, what is that, like, that's 15 seconds of boost. That's quite a lot, genuinely. 15 seconds of boost for 20% speed can actually add up if you play it perfectly, and if you're collecting enough rings, this could technically be infinite, and it could potentially even stack on top of your drifting already with your level 3s or 2s that you're getting off. So there's actually potential it could be very fun. Now, the big thing is, will it be a 1 slot, a 2 slot, or a 3 slot? I think for this orange burning ring, I think it's going to be a 1 slot potentially, if it's only going to be 10 rings for a level 1, or if it's like 15 or 20 rings for a level 1, it's only going to be a 1 slot. If this is for like a level 2 boost, it's probably going to be level 2. Next, let's talk about the blue burning ring. This one I think is going to be easily the upgraded version of it, and it's going to give you a level 3 boost. Now, I don't know for sure if it's going to be a level 3 boost or not. I don't know what it could be, but the reason I think it is because when you have a gadget such as like Ring Game Boost and Ring Game Boost Mini, they have very distinct differences, and this seems like there's distinct differences that one of these will be a weaker version of the other. So I think this one will give you a level 3 boost for maybe 25 to 50 rings. I don't know what the range could be. And keep in mind, a level 3 boost lasts 3.5 seconds. If it is a gadget that gives you the ability to actually use the gadget button, which is the button that you use for inventory swap and summon item box, if summon item box is also coming to the game with this patch, you can spend 25 rings, theoretically, for a level 3, if this is true. Now, again, that is 14 seconds of 25% speed boost for 100 rings, which is actually pretty crazy. I highly doubt that's what it's going to be, though. It's probably going to be more like 30 rings to 50 rings, and even then, you're getting 10.5 to 7 seconds of 25% speed boost, and it makes sense that if it's like 50 rings for like it being a 2 slot maybe, if it's 25 rings for 2 slots for the blue burning ring, this would be very interesting. Now, I don't know if it's going to be a meta definer, but you'll definitely see it because it will be very fun, especially if people like me who enjoyed F-Zero GX or enjoy Redout 2 or other racing games that have nitro in them. This could be something very cool, genuinely. Now, again, this is all purely speculation. I have no idea what it could be, but I think that is a better idea than them being ringing kits. So keep that in mind going forward, because these 2 gadgets could actually be a nitro type thing for Crossworlds, which is super sick if it is, and I'll definitely be trying to use these because I think they'll be a lot of fun. And without further ado, guys, let me know, guys, what you think they are down in the comment section below. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I promise on everything, I will get this Eggman Expo TT video out as soon as possible. I am sorry, this is just taking a higher priority because it's new gadgets, so I wanted to get my thoughts on the gadgets out right away. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Please don't come at me with pitchforks and torches because I didn't have the Expo video out. I'll catch you guys in the next video. It'll be 1000% be Expo unless the devs put another random thing out of the blue. Have yourselves a great one. Thank you so much for watching.